The program, Kunle Ariyo is my name. In 2025, Nigeria's economy tested the patience and resilience of its people. From rising prices and a volatile naira to tough reforms that reshaped daily living, the year forced difficult adjustments on households, businesses, and government alike. The removal of fuel subsidy and changes in the foreign exchange market continue to drive up costs, while inflation made survival more expensive for millions. Yet, amid the strain, there were signs of cautious progress. Government revenue improved slightly, oil production showed recovery, and agriculture remained a lifeline despite insecurity and climate changes. States turned inward, seeking stronger internal generated revenue to stay afloat. For many Nigerians, 2025 was a year of endurance. For policymakers, a year of hard choices amid at long-term stability. Now, the central question remains, did the pain of 2025 lay the foundation for a stronger economy, or did it deepen the burden on Nigerian and ordinary citizens? So on this program today, we take a look back at Nigeria's economy in 2025. My guest is here to do justice to it. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back with the grand runner, please to stay with us. It's a pleasure to have you back on the show today, and have with me in the studio to do justice to it. I have Mr. Kofola Akinjo, an economist. Together, we're taking a look at 2025 in retrospect. You're welcome on the program. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, sir.
Let's take a look at year 2025. How would you describe it economically?
Yeah, we had there's an improvement in the year. It started very badly, but towards the end of the year, we had an improvement.
How do you mean we had an improvement?
And the cost of commodities, price of goods and services, and they're coming to the petrol. We have a downward, which is also a result of, and let's also thank the doggedness of Dangote as a person. So he has actually helped the system. A price of petrol actually dictates the prices in our economy. So it has a lot to do. So we have to give kudos to Dangote.
How would you describe the year as a year of reform or a year of recovery?
It's a reform. Let me say reform is coming up, because I don't see what we have recovered.
Because when you also have a year of recovery, that means citizens will also have to go through a lot of hardship.
We've gone through that even in 2024, and we had that in 2023, but we are having it better in 2025, which to an extent we must be realistic. Where we want to compare the price of commodities in the market is better, so the citizens can have more income.
That would also be the last quarter of the year. That happened.
Yeah, well, the last quarter. So the citizens, the masses don't have more income. How do you have the income? The income comes that if you have a budget of 10,000 to buy rice, and they eventually buy the rice for 7,000, so you have more income to divert or use for something else. So it was a better one towards the last quarter of the year.
Also, the inflation rate was also high in the year.
Yeah, but was a bit. We have it better towards last quarter.
So why did we have it rough in the early quarters of year 2025?
I think when the president, the administration came on board in 2023, the proclamation, the total removal of subsidy actually brought very harsh things very badly, and the policy on the dollar. So, but I think over and don't forget also, we're also approaching election year. So I don't want to actually attribute the whole thing to success or growth, but I still want to look at it that after the election, if it passes, if it's like that, then we don't know that the sincerity of purpose. Because in Nigeria, we also approach election period, politicians tend to bring policies that soften things and make citizens feel that they are doing better. So, but for me, I think, like I said, we must give kudos to Dangote and other modular refineries that are coming up. Because if we have a competition and we have people, private sector investing in refinery and we have it functioning, then we can gradually have the price of oil even as low as...
Is it about Dangote or about international price of oil?
Well, it's about Dangote, because now Dangote insisted that if you follow their trend, they had issues with NNPC, NNPCL, their boss and the rest. In fact, to an extent that he has to expose one man from Sokoto that is living above his income and the rest. So, because those people were actually giving issues, they said he has to start buying diesels and their crude in dollars, and he insisted he has to buy in naira. So, those activities actually led. And today we have petrol from Dangote about 700 plus. While even NPC is selling for its 800 plus. So it means that if you don't have to buy from NPC, you buy from Dangote, then you can have it better, and the cost of transportation will reduce. Going to farming will reduce.
Are you sure the cost of transportation has actually reduced? Because I also know that at the pump price now they sell between 780 and 760 naira per liter.
No, I have a place here in Akure where I buy 738, very close to Fuashai.
Okay.
738. I think that Dangote, I think it gets.
But that has not reflected on the transport fare.
No, we have. You know, this is festive season. After this time, we'll be able to know.
Okay.
You cannot actually determine December, early January, because we have more people traveling, so you can actually determine that. But I want to believe that even me, I needed, if you want to fuel your car at about 50,000 before, you need about 40,000 now to fuel it. So that means I have my income as an individual would have increased because a budget of 50,000 coming to 40,000, then I can use.
Do you think that's no extra
money
for something else?
So,
well, let's look at the policies of government. Would you say that these policies actually tell us to favor the citizens as we experienced in the year 2025?
Yeah, when you look at the tax reform, for instance, it's a compulsory payment. It's not a bad one. Most of these policies are in place to favor the citizens. And mostly in the short run, it brings hardship. But in the long run, we enjoy it. So for the subsidy removal is compulsory, for instance. But in the short run, there's going to be hardship. But government ought to make provisions like modular refinery, like Dangote functioning before those things come up. So citizens wouldn't need to go through this that we are going through. The hardship. So those things were supposed to be in place. So when you are implementing any policy or formulating any policies, considerations of the masses have to be in place. So, and those things are not, because most of these people who are in government are self-centered and they just think about themselves and their children and their family. So I think that is a problem here.
In the early quarters of the year, first quarter, second quarter of the year, we discovered that local production of food items actually increased, but the prices of food items were on the high side. What would you say was responsible for that?
Yeah, you see, when you also look at when people were encouraged because the price of markets was very high, it was encouraging. So people were encouraged to go into farming. So a lot of them are going to farming. We have surplus in terms of supply. We have excess supply against the available money. So that also accounts for the downfall of prices.
That is the tail end of the year.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the year, despite the increase in local production, we also had prices of food items also going up.
No, we don't have. I don't agree with you that we have excess. We have more production. Against 2024, we don't have it, because we want to compare the data, the statistics with that of 2024 and 2025. We don't have it. It was towards the last quarter of 2025 that we have so much in circulation, and there was not enough money to purchase. So people were constrained by the cash they have. So when you have little cash, then people tend to the customers, most of these goods are also perishable, don't forget. So they have no choice than to sell.
So what would be the description of the performance of Naira in 2025?
We have it better in the last quarter. We have it better. I think now it's about 1,500, if I'm correct. So
1,400.
So
yes.
which is better against 217, almost 2,000 that we had before. But don't forget, I said that we are approaching election year.
So that will also be the determinant of why we are.
I don't believe all these politicians until because mostly when we have it towards election year, everybody wants to play safe because of campaign. So
does it mean, to you now, does it mean that the policies put in place by government is not why we are also getting the economy that's also looking up now?
Yeah, I think the
government also ascribed what we are getting at the moment to their policies and programs.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely.
So if the policies and programs, I think it should be sustained.
Yeah, but don't forget, I said we are approaching election year. Anything is playable in Nigeria politics, so just for campaign purposes. The current administration wouldn't have anything to come up to campaign if the dollar doesn't go down, if price of things are not subsidized. So if it were to be the case of 2023, and up to now it will have been disastrous, nothing to campaign, nothing to stand to tell people. So because you cannot tell me that you met rice at so price, and in so even as now we are not back to where we are. So, and the government has excess money, so much money to trade with now, so much.
Compared to the first quarter of 2025, the price of rice is a little bit cheaper.
I think rice now in the Akure market we should be having it about between 50,000-60,000 against 90, about 100,000, which is actually. But that is also a function of the fact that we also have more production. Yeah, we have more production against then, because the Buhari administration actually encouraged local rice production, which I give kudos to him on that, because he has to ban the rice importation so that we can encourage.
Do you sustain that local production of rice despite in the face of this issue of insecurity? Most
rice in the circulation today is local rice, but we also have imported ones, which Nigeria will always have a way of bringing their smuggled things in, and that is the failure from the custom authorities. So because I don't see why, if they will not implement government policy, so I think that is a failure from them. But I know we still have, if we go to the market now, we still have imported rice, which is against the government policy.
One of the issues for last year is also the issue of tax reform. The reform has also said a lot of tongue wagging. Some people have also condemned it, while some people are also in favor of the reform. As a professional, what's your opinion about this?
It's absolutely a good one. It's absolutely a good one. The question I will only ask is, if we have tax is a compulsory payment, and in the biblical days we have tax. In the Yoruba, they said, in the biblical Yoruba Bible said, "Àwọn agbowó-orí," that is tax collector. So that means there have been tax even in the Bible. Now, if we have tax, which is the primary source of government revenue, then I will encourage that people should pay tax. It's compulsory. Directly or indirectly, you must pay. But the question to the government is, what do you do with this money? What is it to? Because you cannot tell me a farmer that doesn't have no security to the farm, that cannot access his farm, is coming out with his cocoa, and you are coming with produce tax to come and tax. What has been your contribution to that person?
Well, with this new tax reform, we should be able to have also be getting over that.
Well, the government provides security for people. The bandits, are they not everywhere chasing people away from their farms? Which is the primary purpose of governance, security and welfare of the citizenry. The government have failed in the area of security. So what are you taxing people for?
Well, the reform has just started this January 1st.
The question, we are absolutely fine. We want to start it, but government have to show proof of where the money goes to and what it is used for. So provide accessible roads for people, give them electricity, provide basic amenities that they need, so that when you are taxing them, they are paying happily. They are not complaining. Of course, when you go to Akure, in Akure, Alagbaka area, there's what they call Band A when it comes to electricity tariff. People are paying, they are not complaining because they have the electricity accessible to them. Because you know what you are paying for and you are getting value for it. People are not complaining. But when you come and you all bring tax to a market woman that lives in Abusoro, no government accessible road, comes to find her way to the market or job to sell, goes back there.
But don't you think we also need to run with this tax reform first before we start talking about if government is actually expending the money judiciously?
And that's what I'm saying, that if government will be sincere, at least we'll be able to talk about this in the next first quarter, that we have generated this is how much, and be sincere, give people the information, the amount generated, and what we have been able to use it for. If we see that, nobody will complain.
Do you even know that if people are also aware of the breakdowns of this tax reform that we're also talking about? Because to me, it looks to me that people do not know exactly what the tax reform is all about. Because the poor people are also crying about the tax reform, and government has also come up to say that it is in the favor of the low-income earners.
Yeah, it is actually going to bring about equality, egalitarianism, where the poor will pay less and the rich will pay more. Because in the past, the poor are paying for the rich. Now the poor would have to pay less.
How do you mean poor were paying for the rich?
A lot of the rich people are not paying their tax as it should be before now. You have transactions in the bank. People just go, no turn. A lot of business entities are not even doing, they don't even do their tax clearance, they don't even pay what they're supposed to pay. Of course, I support what the government is doing. It's not about, it's good. And it's going to bring about equality, which I support. Because one of the basic function of tax is to bring about equality in the system, which is not a bad one. But the only problem, the constraint I have, the problem here is that in the first quarter, the government should give us, within Ondo State here, give us the performance and what the money has been meant for. And government should, every look and cranny of the state, government should provide accessible road and electricity for people, water. And I cannot be in my house. I use my solar, I provide roads, because a lot of communities within Akure here they were the one that, you see the poles, the electricity poles, they provide the wooden ones, they did it themselves, and the government is coming to collect tax on that. The roads to the place, the community people did it themselves. The government is coming to ask for land use charge of a house that you have not provided road to the place, you have not provided anything.
Maybe that could also be one of the reasons why government is also putting in place the tax reform. Maybe after this, we will also see the workability of the tax reform. We can also come back to see if government is actually using the money appropriately or judiciously.
By the time let's see, a lot of questions will arise in litigation. A lot of people go for litigation and ask questions. What have you been able to do? Of course, some of the taxes, there's also error in the reform too, which will also be addressed, which I also believe that the tax authority should do more by educating the people. So they need to constitute different bodies to educate different market women and other people, so that people can be informed. Because a lot of people are even scared now to even put their money in bank, because there's a fear that they're going to charge them, they're going to do this and that. So that will also affect the economy in a way, because we need to put the money in the economy so that we can have circular flow of income.
Last year, just like any other years, we depended majorly on oil revenue. What do you think could be done to also move away from this?
There's what the government is doing. As I said, I support this totally. There's the tax reform is the basic source of government revenue taxation, which is not bad. Government should do this, but tell us what you're going to do with the money. Just like what
they're interested in what government is going to do with this money.
Yeah.
So as we also in year 2026, what's your projection for this year? The outlook.
I hope government will not use it as a campaign year and just neglect the primary purpose of governance.
Definitely, this is a campaign year.
It's a campaign,
so there will be politicking and all of that.
But that means they will not just abandon the the primary purpose of
the governance is all different from politics.
Yes, so that's why they will not
in the
purpose.
recent, which area would you want government to concentrate on in ensuring that we have a better economy?
I expect with this tax reform, massive infrastructural development everywhere. Massive one. Massive. Everywhere, accessible road, so that the children of the poor will not be flying on the air, and the poor will be dying.
What about in the area of Naira, the foreign exchange market?
Of course, the policy, if it's not political, is working.
But we also don't you think that in this new year we also get to see the Naira stronger?
Because that's why I said kudos to Dangote. It's still kudos to Dangote. Dangote has, most of this dollar we have to import. We have to use dollar to import our crude air. So which is, I said, with the Modena refinery and the Dangote refinery working, so we don't need much of that again. So that's why we must thank the man for that. So and with this going on, it will help more. It will help.
So in the first quarter of the year, what exactly do you hope to get?
I hope that we'll have dollar less than 1,000. Yeah.
That's a good dream.
The
last 25 minutes of thereabout, I've been speaking with Mr. Kofola Akinjo, an economist, and together we're taking a look at the year 2025 in retrospect and the outlook for the year 2026. I want to thank you so much for sharing your thought with us on the show today. It's a pleasure having you. That's how it's going to be on the show today. Join us on Friday for another one. Kunle Arroyo is my name. Good morning.